What's up, you guys? Welcome back. Today I am here to do another half face comparison of two products. This time we are going to be doing the new IT Cosmetics Matte CC Cream versus the IT Cosmetics Original CC Cream. When I sat down to film this, I was not planning on doing this half and half style, but you'll see in the footage from when I'm like explaining what we're doing today, I kind of decided halfway through that it would be more informative instead of just reviewing the matte CC cream if I put it on half of my face and did the other half of my face with the original so that we can compare how they wear. That way, if you're a fan of the original one and you're looking to see if you would probably like the matte more, you'll get like a real comparison of how they work under the same circumstances. And if not, if you're just looking for a review of the matte CC cream, you still get that because it's still on my face. It was just one of those things where I was not planning on it and the idea hit me while I was already filming and I was like, you know what? Screw it, let's do that. So right now, half of my face is each of those products, and that's how we'll be doing the review and wear test today. If you are not aware of the IT Cosmetics CC creams, this is the Your Skin But Better CC cream line. There is the original one, which is one of my favorite base products of all time. I want to say foundation because it's kind of like a foundation because it's full coverage, but it is technically a CC cream. It's one of my go-tos though. I wear it nearly every day of my life. So I have high hopes for the matte one. Although matte is not the most appealing thing to me, I would rather a natural finish than a matte finish for the most part, but there are definitely some matte foundations that I like wearing as long as they are not so matte that they make me look dry. So yeah, I have high hopes. I have high hopes because I do really like the IT Cosmetics formula. One negative that I have to say right off the bat, and this one is obvious and it has been a long time complaint from most people about IT Cosmetics, is the shade range is abysmal. It's very small. It's only 12 shades. The shades, they're not the worst distribution of shades like across the range that I've ever seen. It's not like 10 shades of super pale and then 2 super dark. There is a little bit of a range of middle shades, but 12 shades, especially in something that's full coverage that you need to match, like it's not a tint, that's just not enough. It's just not enough to match people. And to be honest, I don't think, I'm looking at their shade range on the computer right now, the shade range doesn't go deep enough either. Hopefully they will still expand it in the future. A lot of brands are taking that feedback very seriously these days, so hopefully it takes the hint because these are really, really good formulas and it would be very nice if they were available to more people. Before we jump into the application and wear test, please, if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe because I would love to have you stick around for more videos, hang out, talk makeup with me. I love when people leave their opinions in the comments so that like I can kind of get a gauge on what you guys think about stuff too. Also, if you're feeling real generous, please go ahead and leave a like on this video because it really helps me out. It helps more people see my content and it also helps me know that you guys are enjoying the things that I'm putting out there. We have got a whole application to do and a long ass wear test to do today. So without any more delay, let's just get started applying it to this face. Before we get started, if you are new here and you are not aware of the way I review foundation, we have a few simple rules, a little standard procedure that I like to go through every time I test the foundation, which I think is the most fair way to test it, at least in my eyes. I have yet to have anybody tell me that they don't think so. So if you have any better ideas about how I can change my operating procedure for how I review foundations, please feel free to leave me a comment down below. I will definitely take it into consideration if I think it will add to the way I review things. But as it stands right now is the way I do it. I always prime my face with the primer that I use every day, the one that I'm most accustomed to, or rather the ones that I'm most accustomed to because I use multiple primers. So today what I primed with was the Smashbox Primerizer around the perimeter of my face, and in the center where I have larger pores, I use the pore filling primer stick from Smashbox as well. That's one of my like go-to combinations that I know works with almost everything that I use, so it's like a safe start. When reviewing foundations, I don't powder my entire face. I will only powder over places that I use other products like concealer. I don't conceal all over my face. That's just not how I operate. So generally that will only be underneath my eyes. Normally I do powder over most foundations, at least a little, just on like certain spots, like right here, and like right here and stuff like that. But if we were testing something, especially something that claims to be matte, I want to know how that performs without a powder, because certain powders like really make a huge difference in how something wears. So it could just be the powder, and then you're not really reviewing the foundation, you know? And then we'll do a wear test. I'll check in at least twice throughout the day. Once right after I film so you guys can see what the product looks like in natural light. Once after a few hours, and then one more time usually right before I go to bed, just to let you guys know exactly how it wore after a long period of time, like a full day of wearing it. So I think that about covers it. Let's put this CC cream on my face. Okay, here it is in the tube. It looks a lot like the other IT Cosmetics CC cream, just a different color. The packaging's the same. It's a squeezy tube with a pump, which I really like. It helps you get almost all, like literally like the last little bits still get stuck in there, but for the most part, you get almost all of it out of the bottle, which is something that a lot of foundations don't let you do. It says it is oil-free, matte, a poreless finish, full coverage cream, anti-aging, hydrating serum with an SPF of 40, which I think is lower SPF than the original one. Hold on, let me check. Yeah, the SPF on the original Your Skin But Better CC cream is 50, so it is a little bit less in the UPS. I almost say UPS, God help me. It has a little bit less SPF, but personally for me, that doesn't really make much of a difference. I have heard through the grapevine over the years that anything over 35 doesn't really make much more of a difference anyway. I don't know if that's completely true. If anybody knows, let me know. But yeah, 40 is still pretty damn good for any sort of like a foundation type product. So I still say that this 40 is fine in my opinion. I take about 2 pumps and apply it with a damn beauty sponge. I'm not sure how much the texture of that shows up on camera, but it like looks almost grainy. Like you can see the matteness in it, if that makes sense. It almost has like the texture of a silicone primer. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm skeptical as I go to apply this to my face right now. Also, if this looks a little dark for me today, it probably is because I haven't done my fake tan in like a week. Normally I'm about a shade darker, so if it doesn't match right now, it's okay, it will match me again tomorrow. Okay, that looks pretty smooth actually now that I'm putting it on with this sponge. Okay, I'm not mad at it. I wasn't planning on doing this way, but now that I just did half of my face and I have both of these sitting in front of me, I'm gonna do the other half with the original IT Cosmetics CC cream so we can compare them throughout the day. Obviously, I know that I'm very familiar with the formula of the original one, but if we could see a side-by-side comparison, like under the same circumstances, and you guys are already familiar with the formula as well, I think that'll be more valuable for you guys. So I'm gonna do the other half of my face. We're gonna do one of my halves and halvesies. Should have thought of that earlier. I think that's a better plan though. I think that'll give us a better picture of how this goes. So far though, I do like the way this looks on my skin. And maybe it's just not completely dried down, but I don't feel like it looks super matte compared to the original. I guess we'll find out in 1 second though. All right, so remember, left side of my face is the original CC cream. Already on the back of my hand, you can tell that the texture of them is quite different. Quite different indeed. I'm going to apply it the same way, the same amount. The colors are pretty much exactly the same. So at least we know the shades seem to be pretty consistent. All right, I'm gonna give this a couple minutes to dry down so we can see the finish after it dries, and I'll be right back. All right, this has been drying down for a couple of minutes, but I wanted to make note of something that I just almost didn't even realize. So I took 2 pumps of the matte one, and that basically was just the right amount to cover half of my face. I used the same 2 pumps of the original one, and that had that much left over on the back of my hand after, and I didn't even realize that I hadn't used it all. And yeah, so I don't know if the original one seems to go further, but that was still there, and with the matte one that was not the case. It would make sense if less came out when you pumped it because it was thicker, but I don't know, it looked the same on the back of my hand. So I'm thinking that maybe just the original one just goes farther. It's got better spread or something. Let's zoom in really, really tight, like obnoxiously in your personal space tight, and you can see the difference between the texture on my skin. This is the matte side. I'm gonna turn as much to the side as I can so you can see how the light is catching the skin. And this is the original side with the natural to dewy finish. You definitely see a difference, especially when you turn, but I wouldn't say that the difference is extreme or anything. It's different, but it's not like, whoa, you're wearing two different foundations. Like, I don't think that anybody would notice the difference on my face right now unless I told them, which is good news for me going about my day doing a wear test here. But is it worth it? Let me work it. But is it worth trying the new one because it's more matte? I don't know. I'm not sure. I guess we'll see how matte it stays throughout the day. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go finish the rest of my makeup for the day, and I will check in with you guys as soon as I finish that. Okay, I finished the rest of my makeup. I did not set anything with powder except underneath my eyes where I put concealer. I bronzed as normal, I put blush as normal, and I put my highlight on as normal. But I didn't set it with a setting spray because that will affect how it wears, and we are not here for that today. I'm not sure how it's reading on camera. This side is definitely more matte than this side, but not by a lot. Like, I have to look for the difference, you know? I have to really, really get in my own shit and examine it to see a difference. Even, it's settling into my ranks on my forehead on both sides. I can see the difference like around my mouth and around my jaw over here a little, but honestly, the difference is very, very minimal. But I think that like the real test will kind of come in with like how it stays throughout the day, because the original one does tend to get pretty dewy on me as the day wears on, and it is hot and very humid out today. So I think that we will get to see whether this stays more matte than this side. But only time will tell, my friends. Only time will tell. So I'm gonna go pop off of here and go brush my hair and get ready to like actually go outdoors. But I will pop in and check in with you guys for our first natural light check-in before I go anywhere. It is 1:50, so we're going to call it about 2 o'clock right now. The time when I actually finished applying the CC cream to my face was 1:15, so it's been on for approximately 35-40 minutes now. So far, I still feel like both sides look the same. I don't know, if sometimes when I don't think things look that differently, you guys say that you see a bigger difference than I do. So I'm curious if maybe you're gonna see a bigger difference. Again, this is the normal side, the original, and this is the matte side. I'm not seeing a huge difference here. I feel like maybe it's a little bit more matte around my mouth and like the inside portion of the nose area. Like there's more shine right there. Outside of that, the forehead, like where it meets, the half and half meets, it looks the same. That being said, I don't dislike the matte version because I'm a big fan of the original one and I like the way my skin looks right now on each side. I'm just not sure if it's worth it to go out of your way to buy a matte version of something that's so similar to the original. But like I said earlier in this video, I think the real test here will be if this stays more matte throughout the day. So like I said, it's 1:50 right now. Let's just call it 2 o'clock because you guys know I cannot math to save my life. So I'm just gonna make it very easy and make it on the even hour. So I'm gonna try to check back in probably around 6 tonight, give it a good few more hours, like a nice 4-hour chunk of time to see if any oils come through. I'm gonna go out and run some errands. I gotta go get groceries. I gotta go get a coffee because a bitch is tired. So I'm gonna go do all that. Hopefully we will see some difference when I check back in. Okay, it is 6:28 p.m. I went a little bit over the estimated time because quite frankly, my Chinese food arrived and I got really excited. Usually I try to film my second check-in in natural lighting, but we are in the middle of a thunderstorm here and there is no natural lighting. So here we are in my studio. I have to say, dude, both sides of me are shiny as fuck. Look how oily my whole face looks. You would expect that maybe the matte side would stay a little bit less oily and that would be the difference between the two of these going forward. But I don't know. I just don't think it's just, it wasn't that matte to start with, and I was hoping that maybe it was a little bit more oil absorbing, and that would be the difference. It would keep you more matte throughout the day, but it doesn't seem to be the case, and quite frankly, I just don't see much of a difference between the matte one and the original. Like, I will use this because I like the original, but like, it's not different. It's pretty much exactly the same, and it's weird because the texture seems so different when you squeeze it onto the back of your hand before you apply it, but damn if they're not pretty much wearing exactly the same and looking exactly the same. Like, this maybe looks a tiny bit less shiny, like really up close if you were like really examining it, but both sides the oil is coming through and I'm shining like a beacon in the night. So far, I don't not like it, because I know that if I just wore it the way I normally wear my IT Cosmetics regular CC cream, where I put a little bit powder in the oily spots and then set it with a setting spray, because I didn't use any setting spray today, I think that it would be good, but it's not really any different. So I will leave this on for a few more hours and check in with you guys, but it'll probably be a quick check-in, because at this point, I think we can safely say that it's not knocking my socks off, I'll tell you that. Okay, it is the next day, and generally speaking, I would never, ever skip doing the last check-in on a wear test, ever. But there were some extenuating circumstances last night. To sum it up, basically, I got a migraine last night and I wound up throwing up, and sorry for the TMI, but when I threw up, I basically broke every blood vessel that exists on my face and neck, and you can't really see it right now because I have makeup on, but it's bad. I will insert a photo somewhere here from yesterday so that you can see what it looks like, because things are rough. Basically, when that happened, I saw it starting to happen on like my jawline, and I completely freaked out and just wiped my makeup off to see how extensive it was on the rest of my face before I really even remembered that I was supposed to be doing a wear test. I never filmed the final check-in, and part of me thought, like, you know what, I have to scrap this entire video and start over. But the more I thought about it, the more that final check-in really doesn't matter, because when I watched the footage back, I had already been talking about the fact that I think that the matte version was kind of a flop. And to be honest, like an hour after I filmed that check-in, it was definitely a flop. Like, my whole face was really oily. It didn't look good. And as was demonstrated by the fact that you could see the blood vessels on my face, on like most of my face through the foundation, a lot of it had worn away anyway. Which means that, like, I like it, but it's not, I wouldn't call it matte. I don't think that if you love matte foundation, or if you feel like you really need a matte foundation because you are on the oily side, I don't think it's gonna do it for you. I mean, I think it is more matte than a CC cream generally is, but maybe only for like the first few minutes that you apply it. And like, just in case you're wondering, if you are new here, my skin type is a combination, so it's not like I'm extremely oily or something. So yeah, I don't think that should be the way it is. I don't know, I don't think I recommend this one. If you do like the IT Cosmetics CC cream, I would recommend that you stick with the original. I think it sits a little nicer on the skin, and it does exactly the same thing. Maybe if you're on the oily side, you'd be better off just priming with a very mattifying primer before you put it on, and setting it with a really good setting powder, rather than trying to use a matte version of something that really doesn't seem like it's meant to be matte. So that's just my take on it. I don't know if you guys have tried it, let me know what you think. This one is definitely not a huge win in my opinion. It's not like a huge fail in the sense that I'm gonna return it or anything. It's just, I feel like it's basically the same thing as I already own. So that's that. Please keep your fingers crossed for me that these blood vessels in my face clear up quickly, because it's kind of freaking me out, I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, I think that's all I got. That pretty much sums up the whole experience. And that is all for today. Thank you guys very much for watching. As always, I hope you found the review and wear test helpful. If you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe before you leave, because I would love to have you stick around for more videos. And If you feel like you might miss me between videos and you would like to keep up with me, see what I do behind the scenes, see the other stuff that I create with makeup on the daily, please go ahead and follow me on Instagram. I'm at Miss Coinface on all other social platforms. I like to post all the pictures of the makeup that I do here on Instagram, some other more creative stuff, lip art, and on my stories I do all the behind the scenes. We do polls about like what videos I'm gonna do next. And we've been doing a lot of question and answer sessions, which are so much fun, and I love chatting with you guys on those. So go ahead and follow me over on Instagram. I would love to have you be a part of that whole crew and have a good time with all of us. Please let me know what you think of this product. Are you interested in it now that you've seen how it performs and how it applies? Was it what you thought? Let me know in a comment down below. I would love to hear about that too. I think that's all I have to say for today. I feel like a little rambly today. Like the words are just coming out way too fast. So I'm gonna cut myself off now. Thank you for watching. I appreciate each and every single one of you, and I'll see you in the next one.